All right. Good morning. All right. Kind of checking and see what we got here. See if looks like we've been selling off this morning. Kind of since really since about 7:30 last night. Trying to push up a little bit here. So interesting enough, I guess we'll look and see here what happens here at 3 o'clock. We do kind of already have a structure shift back to the upside, but we are trading right into this bearish fair value gap. So let's just kind of see what happens here at 3 a.m. See if we get more of a move to the upside or if we kind of turn back down a little bit here. Got my funded account here on the left and my challenge account here on the right. Took a small loss, traded the 6 o'clock open yesterday. Took a couple trades, small ones. So starting today down $72. I mean, realistically, in order for us to kind of be bullish here, I'd like to see a push up into this 20 level. Potentially. Long term, kind of bearish today. Really thinking that we may sell off today. Let's just kind of see what happens here. This might be a little more difficult to read this morning. Let's see here. Your midnight. So kind of opened up at 128. So up the high, made a low. Let's see, take out. Let's look on the larger time frame here. Yeah, it kind of took out the sell side liquidity. So you'd expect some sort of a potential pushback up here. I'm going to put my order here at 93.75. Just going to be kind of targeting 10 handles here. Stop there at the 85s. All right, let's see what happens here. We got a couple of big fair value gaps there this morning. No. We're not currently in a trade. We do have an order on the book here. Trying to second guess myself though, thinking that maybe I should just be taking a short right here since we are trading up into this gap. But we do have a structure shift to the upside here. It took out 1, 2, 3, really like 4 swing highs. 1. So as far as that goes, it looks good for a move to the upside. Still just hanging out at that 100 level though. Let's see where the pivot is. All right, so we're going to be targeting this fair value gap down here at the bottom. Well, yeah. So let's, on the 1 minute chart, it's kind of what we're looking at. Traded back into that gap one time and then it's kind of taken off, but we want to see it pull back into it again one more time. That's kind of the idea, but I am considering, because the further we get away from this gap, could potentially just trade into this top gap here. Or we could just take a short down to the gap, as we're now 12, 13 handles. So let's just see what happens if price pulls back here. Just trying to consider the options here, because it is, we do obviously have this big fair value gap here. But we do have a structure shift back to the upside. So really, I'm targeting this 20 area. Got this down close candle here. So got this down close candle here. So that's kind of my target for the push up. I think that's where we'll push up to. So we kind of want to see this trade back to the 93. We're just going to try to take 10 handles, but I guess the question is, should we ride it back to the 93 and then potentially take an entry long here? Because ultimately I do think this thing moves down this morning. So that's the question. Do we get short here? Put our stop above the 20. I hate second guessing myself. Could put our Fibonacci on here. Yeah, so you can see this down close candle is in the premium range there. So if we trade up into this 15 area before we come back down, I think I may just take a short. for the ride back down into the 93, 94 area. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take an entry short here.
Filled. Order filled.
And just try to get this ride back down below the 100 level there. Should get this push back down here at least. I mean, at least into the 100 level. Probably. Should really go further than that, but let's just see what happens. Just need to get through that 20 SMA there on the 1 minute chart. Let's see if we can't get this pushed down. Ultimately, I think it trades back down into that 93, 94 level, but I'm going to take profit right here at the 100 on the majority of my position. And then we'll see what happens. Should get a nice little push down here. Looking for that 100 touch. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and take $100 there on the one account, and then 300 on the other one. I'm going to move my stop to break even. See if we can continue to get this pushed down into the 94 area. So we got $117 in profit, and there we are, just now pushing down into the 100 area. Really looking for a push down into that 93 area is kind of the idea here, ultimately. I just took it off a little soon there. My patience was tested. So we still got a runner on here, seeing if we can't get this trade back down into this 93, 94 area. I mean, ultimately, I think it trades back into the 94. I don't normally trade both sides of the gap. Normally, I would just put my entry at 94 and leave it. But tonight, I was just thinking I would trade both sides there. Or this morning. Because if ultimately we think it's going to trade back into this gap, why not take a short into the gap, right? So I got my stop locking in $60 here. Stops at 104.25. May get stopped out here. There we are. What the fuck? Did you guys see that? What was that? It hit my stop. Did I have? I don't know what happened there. I'll have to go back and look. That was odd. It came back up and hit my stop and then filled me long. I'll have to go back and watch that. See if I, for whatever reason, botched that. So anyways, locking in $396 there on the challenge account. $117 on the PA account. What the hell are these volume indicators doing? At the bottom here. Where's the... I don't know. It's not that big a deal. So anyways, ultimately, I think this thing trades back down into the 94 level. But let's just see what happens here. We just took a little profit out of the market there. Being a little more conservative there with the PA account. The idea was to take 2 contracts, but on that entry I wasn't 100% confident. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm right here, but, you know. You've had a structure shift to the upside. I mean, you can see we've broken this swing high, 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 this swing high. So you got pretty good confirmation that we're going to be moving up. You have this order block here at the 1820 level. And to couple with the order block, just above that, you have a down close candle at the 20 area. So I think on this move up, that's kind of our area before we start moving back down. So that's why the idea is for the silver bullet to, that's ultimately what I believe the silver bullet is going to be this morning. Trade up into this 18 to 20 area and then sell off. But if it trades back down into this 94 area, you could ride it back to the 20. Because that's kind of what the trend is looking like right now. So anyways, that's kind of the idea for now. I think this thing trades back into the 94 and then bounces out of there. So we'll see how it reacts to this gap. We may get a little bit of a worse feel. And again, we'll reduce size now that we have some profit on the board. You do have a smaller fair value gap here, but ultimately don't believe it will respect that one. If we put the Fibonacci on the current move, then the premium gap is the one down here. So, or the one in discount. So this gap here is still above the 50% level of that move. So just kind of my idea. I think we trade back into the 94s here pretty quickly, 93s. Again, I could have probably held that trade longer, but the idea is just to lock in some profit there. Especially on this funded account, I'm a little more nervous trading it. You know, just don't want to give the money, don't want to have red days with it, but also can't be trading it scared. So I'm just got to get a little more comfortable with it. Big sell-off last night, though. That's kind of the kick in the pants there. I was short. Well, I thought I was short on this account somewhere. I don't see it. Oh, was it all the way back here? Yeah, it was. So we took a couple of entries. I was short up here. Yeah, I had a thought last night. I was speaking to my cousin about it, and I was like, I think I should just put a short on it around 190 and just let it ride. Because like normally when I wake up on Sunday nights especially, we kind of sell off, you know. It's kind of what I was thinking. But didn't do it. All right, so it's approaching this gap here. So what we're going to do here, we're going to wait for confirmation. Normally, I would just take this first entry if it trades into that 93.75 area. But I think I'm going to wait for confirmation tonight or this morning. You guys can do whatever you want to do, not financial advice, but I think we'll have two opportunities out of this gap. And this will also give us a chance to tell if this gap's actually going to hold or not. So we're not going to take the first opportunity. We'll take the second if it gives it to us. If you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Got a coupon code up in the banner there and link in the description for Apex if you're interested in trading futures. Use my coupon code. That helps out the channel. So kind of the idea here is trade back into this gap. Probably going to bounce out of this gap into the, you know, my first target would kind of be the swing high right there at the 109, maybe that 105 level if you wanted to target this one. That would be normally my swing or my target on this first entry, but we have the opportunity not to put ourselves at risk and see if this thing is just going to go back to the sell side, which is kind of what it's looking like. which means we undersold ourselves on this short quite a bit. But we should have two opportunities at it anyway. Like I said, usually it's going to trade back into the gap twice. Do have a small imbalance here on the 1 minute chart there at the 100 level. So you really could put your short entry here for this push back up. It's going to probably repaint that imbalance at the 100 level. So we had this, we had the short peg correctly. We were just kind of wrong about this. And that was the reason why I took this entry here, because I was like, if we're wrong here, at least if we take this short trade first, we know that either way it has to trade back to this gap in order for us to be right or wrong. So you can see we would have got stopped out there. It did trade back down and repaint this volume imbalance here. You see that there on the 1 minute chart. So it just repainted that. So we got a nice little shift in structure to the downside here. So now we could be looking for shorts. So I'm thinking it trades back up into that 99 area for that volume imbalance there. You have a down close candle and the imbalance in the same area. That's the thing, guys. With futures, you can trade you can change your bias. You can be wrong, right, all in the same motion there. So pretty happy with the fact that we took that short, because originally I was just looking at the long there. So you could take an entry here at 15,095 and kind of target that 83 area, or even that liquidity down there at low 78. Personally, I think I'm going to try to get a short fill here at 99.50. There's a small balance above that as well. Could take the short at 15,095.50. Stop would be at 51.04. Like I said, I do think this ultimately trades back up into this 98, 99 level, but it might not. So I might just take my entry at 095.50. Two contracts. I don't think I'm going to take this on the PA account. We're just going to only take this on the combine account here. So we got an order on the book at 15,095.50 with our understanding that there is an imbalance there at the 99-100 level. There is another smaller one above that at the 0405. I don't kind of feeling like it maybe doesn't repaint these just yet. But remember what I said earlier, where a lot of times this offers you two opportunities for the short. So there is a possibility this thing could trade, back up into this 105 area. So I'm almost wondering if we should wait and see how this thing reacts to this gap here. So maybe we'll just color this gap in. Let's see how it reacts to that gap. Like I said, ultimately I think it should probably repaint that area, since there is a imbalance there at the 100 level. So what we're looking for, we want it to trade back up into this gap. You can see it there on the 3-minute chart also. I'm just putting these gaps on here just for a visual for you guys. I mean, not really. I don't, just so you kind of understand what I'm looking at here. Pretty sure you get it anyway, but just for a visual. So kind of seeing how price reacts here to this gap. So we have a shift to the downside here. We broke this swing low, trade back up into this gap. We should be able to get short here for this move down. Stop really at the 09. I'm going to go ahead and take it at the 95.50 area. Just with 2 contracts here on the account here on the right, the challenge account. So I'm kind of liking how this looks. I may take some heat on this trade. It could trade up into this gap and maybe repaint this imbalance, but I don't even feel like it will. So we got the whole numbers, resistance there. So at the very high, I think it'll probably, at the very worst, we'll trade up to that 100 level and then turn back down here. All right, so we're tagged in here, 2 contracts short from the 95.50. Let's kind of see what we get. And on this play, I think we'll just target swing low there that we just created. Again, we may take some heat on this trade, like I said, up through this 100. It's kind of where I was originally thinking of putting my order, but, we'll move our stop up a little bit here, but it should kind of hold this 100 level. There is another small imbalance there at 104, but I don't think it's going to repaint this imbalance. It still could, but I don't think it will. We'll see. This is where I kind of struggle sometimes because, I see these imbalances and I kind of think that it might, repaint those. I really should be taking my entry, at least at this one. So, because the stop needs to be above the order block. So now we got quite a wide stop. I don't really like that, but that's what we have to do. Of course, this did trade back down into this bottom fair value gap here and kind of bounced out of there. So that's also, if you were going to take that entry. So we'll see how price reacts here. Should start to see it turn down here. I really didn't even notice this volume imbalance here. Did see this gap, that was created here, but didn't notice that until after the fact. I mean, ultimately, like I said, I think this thing sells off more tonight. Was considering adding to my position when it traded up into that 110 area. Still could. This is where you kind of start questioning yourself. But I ultimately think I'm right. Although the ES, let's see. Yeah, it double bottomed out of there. ES didn't take that liquidity down there to the sell side. It double bottomed exactly to the tick. So I do kind of like that for this move back down. Considering adding to my position here, just on the challenge account. So ultimately, if we're wrong, it's not that big a deal, but problem is we already got a pretty wide stop on this one, so don't want to compound the issue. Who's kind of watching this order block area here? Well, we're trying to give it the time that it needs to maybe work out, but it just keeps grinding higher here. Certainly don't like that. See how it kind of reacts to this order block area that we got. And that kind of down close candle there at 20. Oops, I don't know what that is. Yeah, the 20 is kind of the line in the sand there. Really want to see it turn down here. The ES is approaching the 4420 area, which is going to be resistance there on the ES. Reason I'm holding this one a little longer, guys, is because ultimately I think we sell off tonight. And kind of reason I'm giving this one a little more room. Normally I would have just killed this at probably this 07 area. Didn't expect it to trade back up this high. But knew it was kind of a possibility because you can see we have this fair value gap here. So ultimately I think it trades back down, but whether or not we have the will to hold it that long, we'll see here. So if it breaks that 20 area, I'm probably going to kill it. And then if I kill it, then it probably will trade back down. But let's see what happens. We are in this trade with kind of reduced size. Never like to take this much heat on a trade, but we decided to take that entry. So what we're going to do is if this thing trades back down into this 103 area, since we kind of have a volume imbalance there, the 100, I think we're going to move our stop down to that 109 to reduce the risk here. And then see if it trades back through that 100 level there. Ultimately, I do think this thing sells off, but like I said, whether we can hold it through it or not, we'll see. So I'd like to see this thing trade down into that 103 area, get into that kind of gap area there. And then we'll move our stop down to reduce the risk here. All right, well, it's trying to push back up here. Let's see what happens here. All right, we should. If we're going to sell, I think we get to sell now. If we're going to sell here. Might have been a smarter move to close this trade and then just look for a re-entry. I don't know why I didn't do that. ES still kind of below that 44.20 area there. As long as the ES stays below that 44.20, I think we still probably sell here. Yeah, that sucks. The ES is still below the 44.20 area here. So I'm kind of eyeballing that. If the ES stays below 44.20, then I feel okay holding this. If the ES breaks out above 44.20, then I think we just cover, but I guess I could put the ES over here. So you guys kind of see what we're looking at there. Really want this ES to stay below that 44.20 area. I think as long as it does, we can still sell off. So that's kind of what we're looking at. I would still label this as a bad trade, even if it ends up coming down working out. This is a bad trade because I knew that it could potentially trade all the way back up to this level. So why take an entry way down here? Because looking back on it, we did have the bullish market structure shift. So short term, I was thinking we would trade back down and then push up. And that's exactly what we did. I was just eyeballing the wrong gap. I was looking at this gap. I really didn't notice this one down here. And like I said, you know, in hindsight, you can always come back and look at these things, but it helps you. Kind of helps you later on, right? So if you look, this is exactly what happened. We were just looking at the wrong gap there. So you have the structure shift to the upside. It trades back down into the most premium gap and then blast out of there. Like I said, ultimately I do think we sell off, but does this entry short make sense here? Probably not. See what happens here at the top of the hour. We usually either get a kind of a push up or a push down here at the top of the hour. So that'll kind of determine our fate on this trade. If the ES pushes above 44.20, we're just going to kill it. It's going to eat the loss. We're already up $400, so it's not that big a deal. I mean, if we lose 1,000 on this trade, it's fine. It'll be fine, but you know, obviously we'd like for this thing to turn back down here. Just kind of watching that 44.20 area there on the ES. That area has been a point of contention like for the last week, probably 3-4 days last week. If we're above 44.20, we kind of move higher. If we're below it, we're moving lower. Ultimately, I think we trade back down into the 49.80 area probably tonight, but I'm sorry, 43.80 for the ES. I don't know if I want to, you know, take a chance of holding this trade through all that. Probably not. Yeah, the kind of sucky thing is if you were watching the stream at the beginning, my short term, I was looking to get long here at 93. Probably would have put my stop down here if I had noticed this gap. I didn't even notice it. Gotta start paying more attention. So short term, I was thinking we would pop up into this 20 level, which is kind of where we're at. But ultimately, long term, thinking we sell off today. Long term being today. All right, coming up on the top of the hour here. Let's see what happens. Like to see this thing start selling back down before the top of the hour. Kind of give us an idea that it might push down, sell back off. ES pulling back into that 18 level now. Get pushed back down below the SMA there and get going. Yes, testing the 18s here. See if we can't push on down. 5 seconds before the top of the hour. Going to insert some volatility there a little bit. So it did not clear 20. I do like that. So let's see if this thing starts pushing down now. Hanging out right there at the 19. The longer it takes to get through there, the more I think this thing's going to roll off and sell off again. But we're a good 20 points from our entry, so there you go. And starting to get a little pullback now, finally. Well, we had a little push down. Now it's trying to retest 20. Just kind of watching it here to see what happens. Tapping that 20 level. Tap, tap, tap. It tapped 20 there. You see we got this order block here on the 1 minute chart. I'm also watching that. We have a down close candle there where I got my 20 marked out at. So those are kind of the important areas for me here on the NQ. Got my stop way up here, but I'm not going to allow it to go up there, obviously. It holds these levels, then we still feel like it probably will sell off. So that's kind of what we're watching. Again, I'm not saying this is a good trade, even if it sells back off and I end up in profit. I think this was ultimately a misread on my part, because I knew it could at least trade up into this 112 area. You know, usually offers a second entry. And so that kind of would be the area I should have been eyeballing for a potential short, or short term. You know, this would have been the play. Trade back into this gap, bounces out of here. Had a volume imbalance there too. You could have put your order here at the 84 and stop 77. So a nice little 7 handle stop for a nice move. 34, 35 handles. In retrospect, it's kind of easy to see, but so let's just see what it does. So it's kind of one of those trades where, you know, you're in it. I could just cover here for, you know, $800 loss, be down 400 on the day for the London session on this account. But, you know, as long as we stay below 20 here, I feel like it could turn back the other way. But it's looking kind of strong. So kind of testing that 20 area here on the NQ as well. As long as the bodies of the candles kind of stay below that area, that's kind of what I'm watching. You know, the only reason I'm not covering is because you hate to kind of cover up here in an area where you think it could turn back down. You know, if you cover here and then it turns back down, you feel bad, but only risking, you know, probably $250 extra dollars in this area. So we could take it off now, but wait and see what happens. Because usually, you know, once you cross over that 4 a.m., you kind of get the real direction. 410, 415, you know, if this thing's going to sell, it'll start doing it with some pretty heavy momentum. And if it's going to pump, it'll start doing it that way too. So we'll kind of find out where we're at here in the next few minutes for sure. So like I said, kind of just watching the ES here. If it breaks above 44.20, then I think we kill it. As long as it stays below it. And as long as we kind of stay below this 20 area over here on the NQ, I think that it's safe to leave it there. So not risking blowing the account or anything. I mean, like I said, we may end up being down $700 ultimately during this session on this this particular account, but that's okay. That's why we took reduced size on this entry. This also kind of, you know, you can go back and look and say, okay, well, if we would have taken the full 10 or 12 handles in profit here, you know, we were in the right entry here, but we sold early. We took like 6 handles, not even that, 4.5. So if we had taken the proper profit there, then this wouldn't be putting us in the red. But in retrospect, you can say a lot of things, right? So, trying to retest this 44.20 area again. Let's see how price closes right here at our 15.120 line. Like I said, as you can wick above it, as long as the bodies of the candle stay below it, then I feel okay about it. So, I think we're gonna get it one direction or the other here quite soon. So, it's either gonna sell or it's gonna push. I think it's gonna roll off and sell, but what do we know? Not much. If you haven't already, hit that like button for me. Subscribe if you haven't yet subscribed. Leave a comment down below. We do stream the New York session as well as the London session 5 days a week. So if you guys are interested in joining me, if you are entertained by this red trade, then join me. Now, we normally do okay, but I misread this one. I mean, I'm the first to admit it. Like I said, even if it works out, still a bad trade. You're going to have a bad trade that ends up working out, right? But still considered a bad trade in my opinion. Because when I came into the session, my short-term bias was bullish because we, you can see, got here at 3 a.m. and we were here at 3 a.m. So my short-term bias was bullish, traded up to here. I was looking for a long entry here at 93. Stop would have been down here, obviously, based on the 3-minute chart. Would have had it. Oh, that's the ES. So wait a second, then look right. Yeah. So it would have came close to my stop, but it wouldn't have touched it. Oh. 44.20.25. Let's see what how the candle closes there. Like I said, it can wick above it. But we want the bodies of the candle to stay below 44.20. Just kind of watching it here. Got the finger on the trigger just in case. Nasdaq trying to pull back. See if it can bring that ES down with it here. Well, didn't close above it, so that's keeps us in play for now. Yeah, sorry, I forgot what I was saying. It was just that kind of had to take my interest there for a second. It's still trying to test that 44.20 area. I mean, really feels like it wants to go now that we're watching it. But we're going to be patient with it. Again, it can wick above the 44.20. We want to see the candle close below it. So the body of the candle remain below the 44.20 is kind of what we're looking at. Also watching the 15.120 on the NQ there. Same idea. So the ES is above the 20. Let's see if it closes below it or not. NQ's above the 120 also. See how it closes. All right, we're going to kill it there. That was kind of our line in the sand. Like I said, that, you know, gives us the idea if one moves above it, then the other's going to push up. So, feels bad, but it is what it is. You're going to make mistakes like that, and that's what we did. Like I said, we opened up this morning, 3 a.m. You can see right here where we were at. So we already had a structure shift to the upside, but what concerned me was these fair value gaps right over here. So I was thinking to myself, well, we can at least get a trade up into the 120 area is what I was thinking. That would be my target. So I was thinking, all right, if it trades back into this 93 area, we'll get long. And then I thought, well, man, if it's going to trade back into the 93, we should just ride it down, right? For some profit. So that's the reason we took this entry here. We took it over here as well, just for a little $120 on the PA account. A little more conservative on this account, a lot more actually. So it trades back down into it, and then I think to myself, well, this thing's probably going to sell off. I don't know why I kind of changed my bias, but I did. That happens. And then, yeah, so here we are. Man, this thing looks like it wants to go over that 145 area. Oh, ES is just, maybe we'll take a long here. I mean, this is kind of jumping in here, but maybe we take a long and kind of target this liquidity at the 146. I mean, we're moving up quickly here, so this looks like I turned away from the ES there for a moment. It moved up 10 handles. Let's kind of move our stop down here below all this stuff. Actually, could take this all the way up to that 50 area, 49 area. See if we can't get this pushed through there. ES is just bulling out at this point. 10 points there in less than 3 minutes on the ES. Look at that. 20 to 30. 1 3-minute candle. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not the ES. What am I talking about? I forgot I changed to the NQ. That happens. Never mind then. The ES is still moving up, but not quite as much as I thought. I was like, man, the ES has moved up 10 points. That was the NQ. I don't know if I would have taken this entry if I'd realized that. Oops. Because this thing just traded right back up to here. We'll see what happens. That's the thing when me switching charts around, not paying attention there, but sorry, I think it'll be fine. Seems like it's moving up, so. I I mean, obviously already made a nice move up. I mean, the NQ cleared those fair value gaps to the downside, so should get this push through 50. Need the ES to break above that 24 area. ES breaks above the 24 area, we get going here pretty strong. Just kind of watching here. I want to see this ES get going. Push above 24. Close out that last gap there. And then can take the Nasdaq with it up probably to this 50 level. All right, well, we're just kind of watching this here. I kind of jumped into this one a little quickly. I thought that the ES was pushing there more than it was, which I should have kind of known. Because the ES moved up 10 points, the NQ would move up a lot more than that. But ultimately, I do think this is probably going to push. Thought it was going to sell, but clearly it wasn't doing that. At least not while we were short, right? Let's get the ES to pierce that 24 level there and get going. ES is approaching that 24. Should get a little swift move on up here now. Just kind of watching it here, see what we get. Like to see a pretty nice swift move through 50. Take that liquidity out right there. Getting through 40 now. Should be able to tap that 50 area here pretty quickly. Push right on through there. That's what we want to see. Come on. You got it. Try to tickle our take profit there. I'd like to see this thing move right through there pretty quickly here. ES moved up to that 27.50 area. Kind of trade back a little bit here. See if this thing can get the power that it needs here to push right through there. I'm going to go ahead and log in a little bit of profit here. I don't want this thing to come back on me and, you know, I don't know though. Let's see here. So we'll put our stop there. Hopefully this thing doesn't stop us out though. I'd really like for this to push through there. If it stops us out, it's probably going to go without us. That'll feel kind of bad, but 6 handles is, or I'm sorry, yeah, it's not that much though. 220 bucks. Whatever it is, 280. Stopped out there. Kind of feels bad, but we could have taken that off of there at $700, and we only ended up getting 280 out of it. So, kind of frustrating, but that's the kick in the pants with the Apex account, because you know, that trailing drawdown there, that probably cost us $400 on our drawdown. It's all right, we still have room to work with there, but Ultimately, I think this probably trades through 50. Well, guys, I think that's going to do it for me this morning. I'll be back live for the London session at 9:30 a.m. If you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and we'll see you next time.